Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. A while back, somebody sent me this logo, and it's not too bad, but it is a bitmap. And everything traced pretty good, with the exception of the font, and we couldn't really find a font close to that. But this is the one that was hard to trace. So I thought I'd share with you how I did it and made it come out. They're going to print this on a t-shirt, and I think it looks good enough for printing. So what I'm going to do, this thing is already small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a duplicate of it and move it over here. And then I'm going to take this one with it selected. So when you crop something, you need to have it selected. So we're going to make sure it's selected. And we're going to grab the crop tool because I only really want to work on this part, and this will make life easier for Corel. So we're going to crop it, and we get just that, and it's ultra small. It's less than 1/2 of an inch up. So we're going to go and trace it. We're going to outline, trace, clip art. It's going to take a little bit of time because it's going pretty fast. Now we're going to say okay. And I'm going to change my nudge factor to something lower, like 1 inch. And I'm going to grab it and I'm going to move that out of the way. Now, here is the problem with the whole thing. If we take this and we left click, right click, look at all the lines. They're interior lines, exterior lines. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to Object, Group, and I'm going to ungroup it. And I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff that doesn't really pertain to the picture. Even though it could be there, I don't think it's really necessary. So we're going to delete some of this stuff. Then what I'm going to do, let me get one more, let me zoom in here. We need to get rid of all those lines, but it would be a lot of work. So I'm going to select that and get rid of it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take a rectangle, and I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool, set on any color. We don't want black. We'll use a light blue. And I'm going to fill this in. And look at that. So now we have it's right on top of the other one. Now we have the outline of it, and we can left click, right click. Let me go ahead and move this out of the way one more time and move this back up. Now we want to do the interior parts. So we can we already got everything but really the inside of the heart. So let's take the Smart Fill tool and fill in that part and that part and that part. Everything else is there. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take it all and we're going to left click, no fill, right click. I'm going to do the outline in red, it doesn't really matter. Now there is not really needed that space between them. So what we're going to do now is delete some lines or smooth some lines out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take the smoothing tool, and it's set way too big. So I'm going to do like 0.1. And I'm going to take these lines and I'm going to click on them, and you can see the nodes come up. And I'm just going to go real quickly to smooth that out. See how much better it looks already? Now we're going to grab that outside part. And every once in a while, click off of it so you'll know where you're at. Click on this part. Just kind of go up and around. Does a really good job. Now we got a little bit of problem right there, but I think we can fix it. It's been a while. I did this. I helped him do this a while back. So now what we can do, that's still a little bit rough. Take the smoothing tool. Well, that's pretty good. Now let's do the other part. And when I kind of have a hard time clicking on it, and the reason for that is that it's a group. So I'm going to select it with the pick tool. I'm going to go up to Object and break the curve apart. By doing that, now the individual pieces should be pieces. and I can go through here and smooth this out. I don't even know that we're going to use these double lines. And with the quite a bit smoother, it's going to look quite a bit better. Let's just go over this whole thing. The smoothing tool is really, really very useful. Let's go around the top. And you could also just hit, I could have hit my space bar and it would have gone back to the smoothing tool. Let's just smooth that out a little bit. Like I said, I gotta really look back at the picture and see what it looks like. Now these nodes are really too close. So what you can do is now grab your shape tool and you can take that node and use the handle to put it like that. I think it looks pretty good. We're going to clean up the top of the, and this is something you could actually really go for and use the, so I'm going to click on it. You could, well, matter of fact, we're going to do that. We're going to take a 2-point line and I'm going to put it right there. Now, if you remember, this is not in the center of the page, so I'm going to group that together for a second and hit P and find out where the center of the page is. Okay, it's way down there. I actually brought in a sword in case I couldn't do this. So now what we can do to clean up the sword and make it look, to me, more, it's pretty good already. You don't have to do this. But I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool and I'm going to fill that in. Now I can move this out of the way, move this out of the way, put this back, and if you remember, we're working in the center of the page now, so I can left click, right click. I can take a 2-point line, start moving it, and then hold down the control button so it's perpendicular and hit, well, not long enough. Take your shape tool. I didn't make the line long enough. Hold down your control button so it's perpendicular. Now, we could clean up one side. This side looks better. Well, this side maybe is worse. So let's take the virtual segment delete key and delete this side. Now we're going to fix this, probably not with the smoothing tool, but with nodes. Whoop. We use the shape tool and just kind of delete some nodes. And I'm not going to go bonkers on this because I've already done it. Let's see what it looks like when we delete that one. Now take this and maybe bring that down. That should probably be there. You could use the smoothing tool now and just kind of clean that up a little bit. And you could go forever and ever and ever on it. So I'm going to call that good. I'm going to take this and Control D and make a duplicate while holding down the control button, get the two-sided cross or two-sided arrow. And there we have the top of the sword left and it looks symmetrical. So I'm going to seal it by smart filling it. Now, if you remember, we might have trouble getting it back. Well, no, because we nudged. So we can put that back over there. So what I'm going to do now, because we're going to work on the whole thing in the center of the page, I can take my virtual segment delete key and delete the old cross. And I'm going to go ahead and delete that line. Now I can take this and I can left click, right click, and nudge it back over and take away our line. Whoop. Since everything's not perfect, I'm going to take this line. I'm going to use the shape tool and I'm going to grab this right here. Now it's a group, so we have to select it, go up to Object, Group, and Ungroup. If you ever can't grab some with the shape tool, that's the reason. That looks pretty good. Now let's see if we can delete this. Nope, we're still not. Oh, the left side is not touching. So we're going to grab the shape tool and just grab that. Having trouble grabbing the shape tool tonight. And we're going to put it like right there. We'll go ahead and we don't have to, but we're going to take away that line. Now we can take away this line. And we can smooth that out later. Now we're going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. You see that kind of sealed it all. Now I'm going to nudge it over. Where did I put it? Oh, I went the other way. Okay, nudge it over here. And now I can pretty much change the color if I want. I'm going to look to see, it doesn't look too good. And whenever you do this, sometimes there's lines, so we're going to take the smoothing tool and just smooth that out. And then maybe grab the shape tool and grab some nodes and make that a little bit thicker. Now, by doing that, we made that thinner. So grab that node and right click and turn it into a cusp. And by doing that, it'll only move one side of the handle. So I think that's good enough. Now the color was really far away. Tell you what, we'll just bring in this. You know what, we'll bring in the original. So we know more about what it looks like. Yep, this is the original. And we're gonna remember that we're only doing this part. We don't have to do the heart. So I'm gonna leave my rectangle there, and we can actually zoom in. And this, let me tell you what, now that we're kind of through with nudging, let's put it a little closer so we can see it. And we're gonna take a brown, so we can take the Smart Fill tool, grab our eyedropper, and click on that brown and go ahead and, well, I already see one mistake I made. It filled that in all the way. So let's back up here, and we need to add another line that I must either taken away or didn't have. We're actually going to use the 2-point line, try to go from like right there to right there. And by doing that now, we can take the Smart Fill tool, it's still in the same color, and we're going to fill that in. And let's look at the original. Yeah, it's touching that red. Now the rest of it's, well, this one's dark. So we're going to use the same Smart Fill tool to go and fill in that and that. Now we're going to get our red. So I'm going to go up to the, I need to back out a little bit. I'm going to get the Smart Fill tool. I'm going to get the eyedropper, and I'm going to get that red. And you can see it did it. So I can now zoom, I can now zoom, and I'll still have that red because it was the last color picked. No, it didn't. Almost because I didn't use it. Tell you what, let's move this whole thing closer to the red. Now let's get our Smart Fill tool. Sorry this is taking so long, but it's really worth it if you work on something like that. I didn't get the eyedropper tool, get the eyedropper tool. Take a sample of that red and fill that in. Whoop, somehow I got a sample of blue. It might not be because, there we go. There's a red. Okay, now we're red. Let's zoom in here. And one thing about it, even though I zoomed in, I'm gonna still have the same color. Do red, red. And that looks pretty good. So now, let's get rid of our triangle or our rectangle. Let's Control G to group all that together. And I think this is the original. Yep. The text just can't be duplicated. So what I did after I cleaned it up, and I made this one. So let's grab our sword. Then I'll zoom in. Let's put that up there. And let's say this is the bad one. I think it's probably grouped together. Yeah, it's grouped together. So let's go to Object, Group, and Ungroup. And then select that away so you can just get, well, it's still grouped. Let's ungroup all. Grab just that and let's nudge it out of the way. So I nudged it 3 times. So I'm going to make sure it's grouped together. Group. And I'm going to bring this one in closer. And then I'm going to put it right on top of the other one. or try to, you could actually, that's pretty close. Now I can nudge back 3 times. And there you have it. It's not perfect. And if you were going to do a lot of t-shirts, I'd probably let some real vectitizer person do it. But I picked a different font and everything came out pretty good. Anyway, I hope that helped them or somebody someday, and thank you for watching.